Hey, I'm back out in the burned up forests of Northern California, out here to look for some gold. Now, if you follow along with my channel, you'd know that the last time I was out here, I had my GPZ 7000 and I was out looking for gold. I actually was patch hunting. And there's several areas in this area where I'm at where there's been gold found. And but it's just areas, and it's not continuous. It's not just a whole region. It's bits and spots here and there. So I was out looking for new patches, new places where there's nuggets in the ground. Unfortunately, I didn't find any, but because I'd been skunked by the trip, I thought in the last hour and a half, I'd go to a place where there was a known nuggets, where I'd found nuggets in the past, and see if I couldn't beat something out of the ground. Well, I spent about an hour going around, and I think I found one ground noise. I didn't find any targets, no actual targets, which says that the patch has been really thoroughly beat up. So today's lesson, today's effort is pounding a beat up patch. And I'm still going out there with my GPZ 7000, you can see, and I'm going to kind of go around the fringes. You know, when I was out there last time, I spent an hour or so of my time and didn't find any targets, like I say. And then in the last 15, 20 minutes, I found two nuggets just kind of walking back to the truck. So this time I'm going to go out there and go around those fringe areas. One of the lessons that you want to learn with hunting pounded patches, if that's really been pounded, is to go to the fringe areas, go to the edges of where gold has been found before, and maybe extend the patch a little bit. It may not be as many nuggets on the fringes, but there can be some good gold out there. There really can. And sometimes the biggest gold is out on the fringes of the patch. So GPZ 7000, and of course, I'm Chris Ralph, the professional prospector, and we're going to go out today and hopefully find us some gold. I hope I have the same kind of luck, couple nuggets in 15 minutes that I had the last time. So come along with me. Let's go take a look.
Okay, this is the first target I've found. That sounds pretty trashy, but let's dig it. We got to dig it. There's not very many targets here at all because it's been pretty well cleaned out. It's in the duff, and usually the best targets are not in the duff. It's in the dirt, right? But as I showed last time, you can get decent targets sometimes. You can get gold targets sometimes in the duff when things have been stirred up. All right, I kind of got through most of the duff. Let's have a listen again and see what it sounds like. Okay, it's a lot stronger. It's up here. Sounds more trash-like than it did. Okay, it's out of the hole, so let's find it. Okay, let's see what it is. Got it in the scoop. It's loud. Piece of wire, maybe. Maybe it's a big gold nugget, but odds are against it. Okay, that's what it is. It's a very rusty piece of steel. I broke it into a couple pieces as I was trying to see what it was. So we'll put that into our trash bag and move on to the next target. Well, there certainly is a target here. I'll let you guys have a listen. Sounds plenty big, but you know, there's so few targets here. It's been beat up so much, it's got to dig it. All right, let's get in there and see what it is. Well, sometimes you dig a target like that and then you go over it and it's gone. It's disappeared. Where'd it go? I have a magnet on my pick, so it's time to look on the magnet and see. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of rusty iron shaving here. I'll put that in my trash pouch and we'll move on to the next target.
So while I'm having my lunch, let me tell you a little bit more about the settings that I use on the 7000. It's a machine that has loads of different settings, And, you know, different situations call for different settings. I mean, there is no one best settings to rule them all. There's different settings that are good for different kinds of operations, different kinds of detecting. So let me tell you a little bit more about the settings I use and why. And then we'll get back together after I finish my lunch. So in my last 7,000 video, I did have one of my commenters ask me, hey, what settings are you using? And that's a good question. And so I'm going to kind of go over the settings that I normally use and that you might consider if you own a 7,000 or if you are thinking about buying a GPZ 7,000. So let's get into the settings. Now the first and most important is the gold mode. Now this is, it basically has to do with the timings of the GPZ 7000, and they have high yield, general, and deep. Now, high yield is best for smaller nuggets. General is medium-sized gold, and deep is really only for really big nuggets down deep. The general of what they're talking about is, you know, high yield is good for nuggets up to about 50 grams. General is basically supposed to be good for gold from 5 to 50 grams and deep over 50 grams. Now, I'll tell you, in the thousands of nuggets that I've dug with my metal detectors, I've never dug a single nugget that was over 50 grams, because that's most of 2 ounces. It's like 1 ounce and 2/3, right? I've not dug any of those. General, you know, 5 to 50 grams. I certainly dig, you know, regularly nuggets in the 5 to 10 gram, and, you know, not that unusual to find 10 to maybe 20 grams, but way more often I get nuggets in the, you know, 0.5 gram, 1 gram, 2 grams. That's the bread and butter of finding nuggets, right? It's the stuff that adds up to the most weight. So that's why I go with, and I have it underlined, I go with the high yield. Ground type, okay, that's the second one. Normal, difficult, and severe. And honestly, what I've found in going through with my 7,000 is that the ground mineralization required to use the normal has to be like virtually no ground mineralization. I think if I were hunting with, you know, in 2 foot deep of pine needles, then, you know, I might use normal. But any kind of thing that I normally get out on, whether it be the deserts of Nevada or Arizona, or whether it's, you know, the mountains of Northern California, or, you know, Montana or Alaska, you know, my experience is I need to use difficult to quiet the machine down. And if I use normal, it's just too much noise all the time. And so, and severe really is for just what it says, really severe conditions. You know, and I just don't see that bad of conditions very often. So I'm in difficult range, okay? That's the ground type. And then, and these names like normal, severe, difficult, all of these different names, high yield, there's stuff that's just made up by the marketing department. It doesn't really tell you, you know, it says normal, like, oh, well, you would normally use normal. Well, no, normal is like super low mineralization. Difficult is normal types of mineralization in a gold field. All right, sensitivity range. That's something that guys ask about. You know, I'm most often in the range of about 12 to 14. Sometimes if the ground is a little milder and there's not a lot of mineralization, I might up the gain. And that sensitivity is how much it amplifies the targets that it receives. Okay, it's not volume, because we're going to talk about that next. It's the sensitivity of the detector. Now, obviously, if you turn it up super high, you get the most sensitivity, but you also get the most sensitivity to ground noise and hot rocks and other things that you don't want to detect. So you compromise, instead of having to constantly chase ground noises and hot rocks and ground noises and hot rocks, because believe me, in most places, there's a whole lot more ground noise and hot rocks than there is gold. So you turn it down a little bit, and most often I'm in the range 12 to 14. In worse ground with more nasty hot rocks, you might turn it down a hair. The place that I was at in this video, because I'm filming this a little later than when I was actually out detecting, you know, it had a fairly moderate, difficult ground mineralization, and not so much hot rocks. I found a few of those, but you know, not many. It was mostly the ground mineralization, and so I was in 12 to 14. That's a good compromise. Okay, volume 1 to 20. You know, normally I'm around 9-ish. I turned it up a little bit so that when I put the headphones over the camera so that you guys could hear, I turned it up a little bit just to make that easier. Threshold, it's a hum. You want a light hum. I've heard people say like having a mosquito near your ear, you know. It's not an even hum. It's it is uneven, but you want it to be that mild noise that you hear. If you turn it way down so that you get complete silence, you can be missing targets, weak targets. You want to have at least some sound. You don't want it to be going, la, 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 you know, making lots of noise, because then it's distracting you. It can drive you crazy. You don't want to do that. So threshold, get it to a hum for your hearing. And your hearing is different than mine. That's why I didn't put a number here, because we all hear differently and have different sensitivities for hearing. Threshold pitch, that goes with that, okay? Different people have different sensitivities to the threshold. You know, maybe you worked in a place with loud noises and you don't hear high-pitched sounds very well. Well, you can adjust to that. So adjust the threshold pitch to something that you can hear well, because you're going to hear the targets better too. As far as auto smoothing, that's another feature of this detector. I don't use it. And ground balance, that's an important one. I set it to auto. Now you can set it to manual, you know, where the machine stays fixed as you go. But like I said, this place I was at had ground mineralization and it varied some. So having it on auto is good, because the machine will self-adjust to those changes in ground mineralization. And yeah, generally leave it in auto, because I think that's best. The slight sensitivity loss that you have for being in auto is, I think, compensated by the fact that the machine is more properly ground balanced all the time. So those are the settings I have for the GPZ. Now it has loads of other features. Even it has a deal where it will track your movement, and you know, you can download it and show on a map, you know, the pattern that you walked when you were out prospecting. You can make a mark, you know, where you found a nugget or that kind of thing. You know, that's a whole separate thing, and the manual for that is available online. If you're interested in, you know, if you've lost your manual, or maybe you're interested in maybe buying a GPZ 7000, download the manual off the Minelab website and read through it. It'll give you a better feel for the detector. Now, let's get back to prospecting, and I will tell you, secret, I found some nice gold in this video. So hang with me, and we're going to go back to the prospecting end of things.
Well, lunch is over, and I've been wandering around, and really I've only done 1 or 2 little scraps of steel, and just not much. But that's a giant overload target, highly likely to be trash. But if it's not trash, it's a giant nugget. So you got to dig it. You got to take the good with the bad and dig the trash even when you're pretty sure it's trash. So let's get this out of the hole and see what it is. Okay, it's already out of the hole. Let's find out what it is. And it's can lid folded in half. It was trash just like we thought, but you got to dig it. Otherwise, you'll never know. On to the next. Here's the target. I'll let you guys hear it. That actually sounds pretty good. You know, it could be trash still, but I'm hoping that it's gold. It's not that far from where I found a nugget when I was here the last time and where I found nuggets in the past. And there's not very many targets here. So let's dig it and see. Appears to still be in the hole from the sound of that. Okay, let's dig some more. We're into, appears to be fairly solid soil instead of loose fluff, but there is some burnt wood on the side of this, so let's see if it's still in the hole or out. Okay, from that target, it seems to be out. Okay, got it in the spoon. Still sounds pretty good. There's no guarantee though. The only guarantee is when you see the gold in your scoop. In my hand. Still in the scoop. Don't see anything real obvious. Hope it isn't that. That's gonna be another piece of rust. Little bit of rusty steel. Oh well, sounded good. See, even good targets can be junk, and stuff that you think is junk can be good. It's hard to tell. I mean, there's just no for sure method. All right, on to the next target. Okay, last target of the day. Sounds a little deep. It's a single sound. Okay, it's a single sound, and that means that for its size, it's a little bit on the deep side. Now, a small target might be deep at 4 or 5 inches. A big target, you know, I've dug like 20-gram nuggets at 18 or 20 inches. So the bigger the target, the deeper it has to be to get that one sound. But let's give it a shot. I found gold last time, not too far from here either. Still in the ground. That's a good sign. The deeper the target is, the more likely it's gold. The one thing about digging a hole for the GPZ, because it's got a big coil, you need a big hole. Okay, still in the hole. That's great news. Okay, I'm gonna disconnect the detector and start digging for real. It's out of the hole. Okay. All right, first try. It's in the spoon. Still in the spoon. Still in the spoon. Up in my hand. Okay. Loud. One of the things in my hand. Looks like it could be. Okay. It doesn't look like much, but that is gold. That's a nice nugget. Probably gram and a half pennyweight kind of thing. I'm going to put some water on it and we'll wash it off. This is another one that's got a lot of rock on it. It's going to have to soak for a while to really get this thing clean. Okay. Can you see on the corner there's a little bit of gold metal showing? The rest of it is just a rock. It's heavy. It's way too heavy for its size. Weighs a couple of grams, but it's got a lot of rock on it. Kind of like that nugget that I found in this area the last time I was out. A little bit of gold showing on the tip, but it's gonna get some cleaning before it really looks good. All right, well, when I get that home, I will get right away to cleaning it. Okay, we got gold. It's good, and it's a nice piece. It's a gram and a half, maybe 2. Have to weigh it up and see. Although, it's got rock on it, but I can see the gold. It's gold. Excellent. Okay, because I found this nugget only a few feet from where I found that gold flake, I've got to detect around this spot to see what else might be here. Even though I was heading and thinking that would be the last target. Got to keep trying if you get gold. That was a nice one. Well, I'm going to turn the camera off and give it a try. We'll see. If I get another good target, I'll bring you back. Otherwise, we'll be looking at that nugget when it's cleaned off.
And here's that nugget all cleaned up. And it weighs a little over a gram. And I actually weighed it before I put it in the cleaning solution. And it weighed about 1.3 grams. So it lost a couple tenths of a gram of that iron oxide that was coating it. Just as a reminder, here's what it looked like before it got a bath. You can see just one little tip there is showing a bit of gold metal. So I knew it was gold, but the whole rest of the nugget was encased in iron oxides. This makes me think about, what to do about nuggets that don't show any gold on the outside. And I have found a few of these, but literally I've found thousands of nuggets, either dredging, panning, sniping, sluicing, metal detecting, of course. And in all of those, very few of them, almost none, don't show good gold real obviously on the outside. This one showed a little gold, not much. But once the iron oxide was removed, it was clear to see the gold nugget that was on the inside that you could only see a little bit of previously. This is the stuff I use to take the rust off of the nuggets that I have that have a lot of iron oxide on them. I don't find that many of those, but I do find some, and it's nice to be able to take the rust off and see the beautiful gold underneath. And here it is on the scale with the other nugget that I found the day before, which, the first nugget the day before I didn't get captured digging on camera, but you can still see I got almost a tenth of an ounce, just a hair under a tenth of an ounce. That's a couple $100 worth of gold. And, finding gold like this is a skill. And if you have an interest in learning to find gold yourself and learning the skill of prospecting to be able to find nuggets, then I wrote a book about that just for you. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my book right now. So let me tell you a little bit more about my book. It's called Fistful of Gold, and I wrote it because I want you to be able to go out and find for yourself Fistful of Gold. And you can see that it's an encyclopedia with all kinds of information, pictures, and that sort of thing. It's not in color, but color would have cost me a lot more to have printed, and so the book would have cost a lot more. It's for sale on Amazon, and you can pick it up. I'll put a link in the description below. I also serve as the editor for a prospecting magazine. It's ICMJ's Prospecting and Mining Journal. And honestly, you should check that out. We got stories and information, legal stuff, everything you know to increase your skills as a prospector. I write articles in this every month, and a lot of other very experienced prospectors contribute to the magazine as well. So check the magazine out. Also, I have a website, and the website is at NevadaOutbackGems.com. I'll put a link for it in the description below, but there's gobs of information there that you will find useful in your prospecting efforts. Finally, I want to say that I really appreciate your comments and thoughts, and even positive criticism. Don't come on there and just toss out insults, because I'll just delete your comments. But if you've got helpful things to say and questions to ask, do write and put those in the comments, because I answer my comments to people, and you'll hear from me in responding to you. So if you've enjoyed this video and you like what you see and you're interested in finding out more, well then sign up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so they'll let you know when I post new videos. And like it and share it if again you see stuff that you really are excited about.
And I'll be coming out with lots more new videos, and so we'll see you again real soon.